Despite years or even decades of experience under our belt, there are aspects of our business that can feel forced or even stall completely. Now, this is really something of a mystery because as mature professionals, we're more than capable and we aren't afraid of hard work and we certainly aren't lazy. Sales is a classic example that comes to mind. It becomes an effort that we might dread, so we may procrastinate or carry out some half hearted version, and then we'll feel irritated or even downhearted at the results. When that happens, we often treat it like it's a discipline issue. We swear that we really need to post more, we need to push harder, we need to add bucketfuls of energy and be more consistent. We hear that all the time, don't we? But in my experience, none of those are really the right first move. Instead, we need to look at what I call our business fitness. So, just like with weight training, let's suppose that some expert trainer shows us what is known as the Arnold Schwarzenegger bicep curl, but if our fingers can't even grip the weights, then no new amount of technique is really going to help us to build the muscle that we need. And that's why today I'm going to show you a business fitness audit, a 10-minute exercise you can do on a single page, and it will allow you to make three important decisions. Decision one thing that you stop for the next 30 days, one thing that you keep, and one thing that you change. And if you do nothing else after watching this video, do this. I walk beside this river pretty much every day. And these walks, well, they're useful because they remove me from the noise. There are no screens here, there's no emails, there's no text, there's really nothing pinging or zinging or ringing. There's just the mellifluous sounds of the water, there's the birds, there's the breeze, and there's the rustling of the leaves among the trees. In this natural idyll, I can really get to notice what's been bothering me. But the walk doesn't fix anything really on its own. If I come back just having noticed, but nothing actually changes in what I do the next week, then it stays as a nice walk with a moment or two of insight. So, find your equivalent of a river, somewhere away from your usual desk and the hassles, and taking into account what you know about your behaviour. Allow yourself to make one clean decision about the week ahead. Now, I recommend recording that thought immediately. So many of the videos that I make are done in precisely that way. The river inspires me, and my videos become a kind of loving note to myself and hopefully to you. When I get back, I'll often jot things down on just one page. Now, take the channels you're currently using. There's no need to invent new channels for this particular exercise. Use what's real, what's ready, what is already to hand. So a typical list might include LinkedIn, for example, email, referrals, networking, and even jolly old YouTube, whatever it is that applies in your case. And then for each of those channels, ask yourself three questions. Jot the answers down as notes. Your gut feelings, you don't have to do any fancy paragraphs here or fancy prose. Question one, does it feel like you? By that, I don't mean, is it comfortable? I mean, can you do it in a way that still feels like you on a regular Thursday afternoon when the bill's just arrived and you forgot to buy something in the supermarket? Can you bring yourself in your fullness to that exercise, that channel? In other words, can you truly own it? Question two, does it produce proof? And by proof, I mean something that a future client will really recognize as valuable and credible evidence, not our opinions, not our general advice, but our specific results. I just want to give you a few examples of proof to get your thinking going, to stimulate it. A before and after of a page that you've edited, or a decision you made with a client and their precise feedback and their precise results. A mistake you corrected perhaps, and what changed as a result, or maybe a short diagnostic that you actually ran, and then what that revealed. And question 3, does it create conversations? Not likes, not vague encouragement, but real conversations that lead to a real next step. Now, with those in mind, you decide stop, keep, or change for that channel for the next 30 days. And it has to be one of those 3. If you keep it fuzzy, you'll keep doing the half-baked version. Let me do a quick example so you can see what change means. Let's take LinkedIn as an example. So first of all, does LinkedIn feel like you? If you're trying to create fancy posts drenched in AI research and dressed up like your own ideas, and if you have a sort of an external semblance of expertise, then it probably doesn't sit too comfortably with your conscience, let alone that expertise. Now, that doesn't automatically mean LinkedIn is the wrong medium for you, but it does mean that the behavior that you're using for LinkedIn may well be wrong. Does it produce proof? So if your posts are vague and generic, there's not much proof going on. Opinions, no matter how revolutionary, are not in themselves proof. And then does it create conversations? If it's getting polite engagement, a few likes, but no serious conversations, then that is a clue. So LinkedIn is often not stop, it's more to do with change. Now, what does that change look like in practical terms? For 30 days, 1 piece of proof per week. No clever posts, just plain proof. For instance, here's the headline that we edited for a client, and on that page, and here's why it mattered, what effect it has. Here's a single question I asked that changed the entire course of a sales call. Here are 3 clear signs that a prospect is not ready to move ahead, and the method I use to end things cleanly and politely. If you can show your work like that, you don't have to push so hard to be believed. Now, let's take as another example, email. For a lot of us as mature experts, email feels a lot more natural than public posting because we can write precisely and calmly without feeling that we have to put on some kind of a public-facing front. And email is also a great place for proof because you can go into the truth really in some detail. So if the email has been producing replies or calls, keep it. There's no need to make it something louder just because the internet seems to reward the loud and the louche. When it comes to referrals, these can be excellent. They can also become something of an excuse in my experience. So if what you call referrals is basically waiting and hoping, that's not a channel. Frankly, that's a fiction that you're telling yourself. Now, it might feel comforting, but it's not really helping you to move your business forward. So in that example, for 30 days, you might stop leaning on referrals and replace it with something you can actually do on purpose. An email outreach to your warm contacts, for example, or 1 proof item per week, or booking specific conversations from 1 specific source. The point here is not moral value or perceived weight of any one channel over the other. The real point is, what are you actually going to do for the next 30 days that will produce proof and create conversations without turning you into some kind of a dancing internet monkey? Now, here's the part that makes all of this really super useful. Treat your decisions as a simple 30-day experiment. Write those 3 decisions somewhere that you'll see them. Stop, keep, change. And then define your change as behavior, not as some kind of intention. Try harder on LinkedIn, post more. Those are not behaviors. 1 proof item per week on LinkedIn, and I will DM it to 10 people I actually know, is a behavior. So crack out your calendar. I use my phone and schedule the behavior. That way, my only decision is when I have time and I'm at my best to carry out that decision. I make it on my calendar, and then from then on, my calendar does the thinking for me. Without this step, you'll easily drift back into whatever patterns you're currently applying when you get busy being busy. And at the end of those 30 days, you can review 3 simple things. Number 1, did I actually produce proof? Number 2, did it create conversations? And number 3, did I resent it? Or could I keep doing it? Could I refine it? Now, that review tells you whether it's a fit, or whether you need to drop it, or whether you need to change again. If you want some human-centered prompts to support exactly this kind of work, then check out my 7-day clarity sequence. It's down in the channel description. I'll put it in the description for this video. It's easy, it's practical, it's mini steps just like this for 1 week. And I've also provided some Loom video explainers every day just for you. There's no heavy sale at the end. In fact, if you know me by now, me and heavy sales are like chalk and cheese. The way I figure things is if you feel that it's right for us to work together, well, you know where you can find me. And if you're building an online business from real expertise, then I suggest you subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. I publish 1 long form video just like this each and every week, and I make shorts every day to sit alongside it.